What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Bleacher Report. I am Josh Taylor at Josh Taylor FB on Twitter and social media. If you don't follow me already, go ahead and do so because we've got a lot to talk about after the game yesterday. I was kind of thinking what would be a really good topic to discuss that a lot of fans are really talking about right now. So I took to social media, dropped a poll last night just to get a good feel of the room of the thoughts, just fan-wide of the quarterback situation in Washington. Obviously, Sam Howell gets pulled with about 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which left a lot of questions of why. What does this mean, moving forward? Is Sam going to be quarterback one for the rest of the season? Let alone, is Sam Howell going to be quarterback one next season when the new regime takes over? So, of course, I'm going to talk about, a little bit of the game yesterday and just, maybe why that happened. But I'm also going to talk about the future at the quarterback position for Washington. If it's not Sam Howell, and I'll give a reason, for Sam Howell, this isn't really going to be too much opinionated. Just going to be stating facts. I'll throw my opinions in there, but I'll let you know when it's my opinion. But really just kind of looking at this as to if it's not Sam Howell, then who would it be and what would that even look like? So first off, just want to talk a little bit about the game yesterday. And I have some graphics and a poll I'm going to drop for y'all as well. But the biggest thing is, why was Sam Howell pulled in yesterday's game for Jacoby Brissett, who came in right away and outproduced Sam Howell in just that fourth quarter alone, made the big plays to Terry McLaurin, put some points on the board finally, and it just seemed like the offense started clicking once Jacoby Brissett came in. And why did that happen? Is it the play calling? Is it because the Rams weren't expecting Jacoby Brissett? Is it because they know how to defend Sam Howell? That's what they prepped for all week. And then as soon as Jacoby Brissett comes in, it's a different quarterback. Or was Sam Howell just off? And honestly, I think you could make the argument that it was a little bit of everything. But I think Sam was pretty off yesterday. And you can make the argument that the last 4-5 weeks now after the game yesterday has been pretty bad for Sam Howell. He was leading the league in yards, but he was also leading the league in sacks. Maybe it's mostly on the offensive line, but he also said that, and it showed on tape, that he was getting the ball out quicker than he has in the past. So I think Sam Howell was getting better as the season was going on, but it seemed like he's kind of regressed the last few weeks. And if you remember on the stream back at the trade deadline, I told everybody, I said the rest of the season is going to be Sam Howell's audition for quarterback one in 2024. People thought I was crazy. They're like, Josh, what are you talking about? He leads the league in yards. There's no way. There's no audition. This is his first year. Let's build around him. He's shown you enough goods where you can say he's the quarterback of the future. And I don't disagree with that statement, but I think a lot has changed in the last few weeks to where you really have to say it's on the table. It's at least a discussion that the new regime will talk about. And I want to say the most important thing to remember in this league, it is a quarterback league. Not everyone's going to find their Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft. Shanahan is an offensive genius. Like the 49ers are just different out there. You cannot compare a quarterback situation to what they have in San Francisco. That is a complete different beast. I will say, though, when you feel like you can upgrade at the quarterback position, you have to do so. And I'm not saying you're just like, well, think about the Chargers, for instance, with Justin Herbert. The Chargers are a bad team. And I promise you, Herbert is not the reason why they're losing games. But they don't look at him and say, well, we're losing. Maybe we can just upgrade the quarterback position and just move forward. That is not what I mean. Look at the Bears. Justin Fields looks great recently. He didn't really look too good last year. Showed a little bit of flashes. Beginning of the season was kind of off. Then he got banged up, missed a couple games. Then he started looking really good the last few weeks. But still, they're in a big-time contention to say, we can still upgrade in the draft with Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever, and they might do so and move on from Justin Fields. Not saying Justin Fields is just a terrible quarterback, because he's still showing you some really good stuff lately. But at the same time, if you can make that upgrade, you have to do so. And I'm not sitting here saying Sam Howell is bad, but I'm saying is, can you upgrade from Sam Howell? Absolutely. And, I went back and watched that game yesterday, and I'll go ahead and talk about Sam Howell. But it just seemed like what made him get pulled. It was the plays that really threw me off were the interception to Terry McLaurin. That was the last play before he got pulled. If you go back to that play, it's first down. He rolls out to the right. He still has time. He has Antonio Gibson for about a 7-8 yard gain, at least, sitting on that right sideline, just sitting there by himself. Easy check down. Could have been a big gain with Antonio Gibson if he gets upfield, whatever. it would have been an easy completion for Sam Howell. But he decides to stay to the right, wait till the last second. He sees Terry McLaurin cutting the opposite way towards the middle of the field, which we all know you never throw across your body in the middle of the field. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but still, it was not a good decision. He throws it high. Terry tries to go up and get it, tips it around a little bit. It gets intercepted. Was that Terry's fault? No. That was all on Sam Howell. He's gotta settle with finding Antonio Gibson, keeping the drive going. And people are like, oh, he wanted to be aggressive. We're down so much. But at the same time, you can't make those bad throws like that. As a quarterback, you have to be smart. And if you're going to label him as a game manager, you're going to label him as that guy who can, at least win you a couple games. He has to take those safe throws, and he just wasn't there yesterday. And I think that's what really took into the decision of Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy really pulling him yesterday. But I will say, have you seen enough that you say, guys, we can build around him for 2024? I say yes. I think you can. I don't think this is my option right now. Everyone knows I'm a giant Sam Howell fan. I've been, big supporter since, the Senior Bowl, where I got to watch him, spend time with him, study his film. Love Sam Howell. But can you watch the last few weeks and say, we can upgrade the position? And the honest answer is yes. You absolutely can upgrade from Sam Howell. Now, could you draft a guy in the draft, and I'll talk about some options, and they turn out to be worse than Sam Howell? There's a possibility. You never know. You could get a Zach Wilson. You could, a Trey Lance, something like that doesn't work out. But is the upside for some of these guys like a Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels higher than Sam Howell? And I think you can say yes to that as well, which is okay. But once again, if you want to roll with Sam Howell one more season, he's technically a rookie this season. This is his first full season, which is why I was kind of upset that they even pulled him yesterday, because Rhonda said, oh, we want to protect him, but you didn't want to protect him against the Giants game, when we were still had an opportunity to win, but he was throwing these interceptions. The Bills game where it got just really ugly. You didn't want to protect him then, so it just makes no sense that was the game yesterday. He only had one sack. I know he got hit a couple times, but it was not as ugly as it has been in the last few weeks and the other weeks of this season. You wanted to pull him yesterday. Why? This was the last game that officially eliminated Washington from the playoffs. But at the same time, you see how they are in that goal line situation where they waste almost 3 minutes. And in the goal line situation, down 2 possessions, waste almost 3 minutes, no hurry-up offense, just kind of standing around, not much urgency. Even though Jacoby Brissett's moving the ball down the field, they just can't get into the end zone. That one drive, it doesn't make sense. And you say you want to protect Sam Howell. Maybe him sitting and watching Jacoby Brissett was good for him. But at the same time, I think he needs those reps. He needs to learn on the fly. I think pulling him, I don't think it can hurt a confidence or anything like that. I think that's a joke. But at the same time, it wasn't that bad yesterday, like him getting hit-wise, to where you said, oh, we need to pull him to protect him. Yeah, he was making some bad throws. He was making some bad decisions. Maybe he was just stuck in his head. You want him to kind of just pull him out so he doesn't get stuck in there for too long. But at the same time, I want Sam Howell to get that full seasons where you can just evaluate him at the end of the season. The new regime's going to come in and say, look, this is what we got out of Sam Howell. Yeah, he makes some good throws. The deep ball hasn't been there all season long. Terry was the first receiver to have over a 40-yard catch. We were the last team in the NFL that had a catch over 40 yards, and it came yesterday from Jacoby Brissett. It wasn't even Sam Howell. So what does that tell you? The deep ball has not been there. The deep ball accuracy has not been there. The anticipation has not been there all season. The pocket awareness has gotten better all season, but he's still making some bad throws, and he's still missing the easy ones that you want him to just see naturally. So as a new regime that comes in, they didn't draft this guy. Yeah, he's a 5th-round pick. You don't have much invested in him. But at the same time, can you upgrade at that position? And if you're honest with yourself, you say, yes, the possibility is there. Once again, nothing is a guarantee in this league. So who should be quarterback 1 next season? That's the poll for the day. Is it going to be Sam Howell? Is it Caleb Williams / Drake May, Jayden Daniels, or Justin Fields? These are the guys I'm talking about today. Because I think these are the options. Is Sam Howell an option for 2024? Yes. You have a super high pick. You can get Oli Fashanu. You can get Joe Alt. You can get Marvin Harrison Jr. if you want to. Like, you can get a weapon to build around Sam Howell for next season and then see how he does that season. But at the same time, is the new regime going to be patient or let alone want to do so in their first year with this team? if they don't have 100% confidence in Sam Howell, I'm telling y'all, they will move on from him in a heartbeat, because that's this league. You're not going to waste a season playing a quarterback that you don't believe in or don't think has the upside to be a legit, playoff contending, playoff caliber quarterback in this league. So if it's not Sam Howell, who is it? Obviously, quarterback one in a lot of people's draft boards is the local guy, Caleb Williams, from DC or somewhere out of Maryland. He's from the DMV. Regardless, even if the team moves to Virginia, whatever we decide to do. But Caleb Williams obviously is the likely number one pick. That's probably going to go to Chicago. Could Washington trade up and get him? Sure. I don't think they would. That would be pretty aggressive from the new regime. But once again, could you market the heck out of this guy? You raise the ticket prices for next season. Could you throw this guy on the tickets? Could you put his face everywhere at the stadium? Yes. I will say this, and it's just the business side of things. Getting a new quarterback that has the potential to be special is fun. It is exciting to fans, but it is also exciting to the front office. It's exciting to the owner when you can market your quarterback, your Lamar Jackson, your Pat Mahomes, your Joe Burrow. When you can market those guys, it makes the business side of your team fun and a lot more exciting. Can you do that with Sam Howell? To certain fans, yes. But right now, there's a lot of fans that don't want to see Sam Howell next season because they have seen the bad the last few weeks. Once again, there are some fans that do want to see Sam Howell because they don't think that he's had a fair chance behind this line. Both can be right. Once again, you can think whatever you want. But I think Chicago goes Caleb Williams, which is why I put Justin Fields on here, and I'll talk about him as well. But I don't think there's a chance that Washington trades up to get Caleb Williams unless Chicago says we want to keep Justin Fields. We're going to trade out this one spot. Washington, come get it. If we finish 3 or 4, right now we're at the 4th pick. We need Arizona to win a game or 2, and we need the Patriots to win a game or 2. And we need to lose out to have a chance at that number 2 spot. So maybe if we are number 2, we can trade back with Chicago. They'll have no problem. We have the ammo to do so, whether it's picks next year or it's the 2 seconds we have this year, the 2/3 we have this year. We have ammo to do what we want. Whoever comes in as the GM, whoever comes in as the head coach, player personnel, VP, ops, all that, they will have what they want or what they need to trade up and get whoever they want. But Chicago really holds the key to the quarterback situation in Washington if Washington decides not to hang on to Sam Howell. And we still have 4 weeks to see what Sam Howell can do. We still see a little bit of this audition. Like I said, Sam Howell is auditioning for that quarterback 1 spot for the rest of the season. We have some time to see what that looks like. So is Caleb Williams an option? It absolutely is, especially if Washington does finish with a top 4 pick, which I think they're a lock to do so. We'll see if they can beat the Jets. Jets are pretty bad, but we're 3-point underdogs to a team that did not score this weekend. So that just tells you where we're at. We're not any better. And what about Drake May? Drake May, quarterback 2 on my board. I have Caleb Williams 1. I have Drake May 2. It might change before April. We'll see. I don't see it. But Drake May, the guy that replaced Sam Howell at North Carolina, could he be the guy that replaces Sam Howell in Washington? They're best friends. They're super close. Contact all the time. You see videos like Sam Howell's been at the North Carolina games this year on the sideline supporting Drake May. That's a really hard one to do. That's a tough one from a front office standpoint. But at the same time, if you do replace, Sam Howell and you keep him as the backup and you draft Drake May, that's also a quarterback room I feel good about because they are close, because they are good friends. They have that North Carolina connection. It does make it a little bit easier. Is that tough? Yes, but still a business side of things, Sam Howell would understand. Sam Howell's not going to throw a fit. He's not going to demand a trade. That is not Sam Howell. I love Sam Howell as a person. I love him as a player. And that's what I think that I like the most about Sam Howell is he wants to just win. Like, he doesn't care. He's not going to throw a fit. He's not going to be some diva or anything like that. Like, people have red flags for Caleb Williams. They think he's a diva, and the whole thing with him, like wanting ownership of a team, that's not true. He does not want ownership of a team. Pat Mahomes doesn't even have ownership of the Chiefs. There's no way Caleb Williams would come to any team and say, I need part ownership of this team. That's not true. I do not believe that at all. And Drake May, I think talent-wise, has the potential to be special at the next level. The arm talent is absolutely on showcase this season. I love what I've seen the film wise. There's a lot of people, and I won't even say casuals. There's just a lot of people that don't watch a lot of college football that haven't seen the potential of Drake May. Yes, you see the highlights of Jayden Daniels and what he can do, and I'm going to talk about him as well. But I think Drake May, arm talent wise, possibly has the best arm in the draft. I think Caleb has that off script, that special make a play, Pat Mahomes-esque to him that has an upside that you can't pass up on if he's there. Like absolutely. And I think that's why the Bears do move on from Justin Fields, who has looked good the last few weeks, because Caleb Williams has the potential to be something special. But once again, none of these guys are guarantees, but that's just the draft. But that doesn't mean you're going to pass up on a guy because you're like, oh, I don't know. We're going to just take a safe pick here. Sometimes you have to be aggressive. And if you're a new regime, you're a new front office, you're a new head coach, being aggressive might be the move that does something for you. Could it be bad? Like, could we draft Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, and they turn out to be worse than Sam Howell? Possibility. But I don't think we would get rid of Sam Howell even if we replaced him. I don't see, there's no reason to even trade him. He's on a rookie contract. Like I said, he's not going to be demanding some trade or anything like that. But Drake May, even if we have a top 3 pick, like I said, the Patriots really determine that whole situation unless we trade up. But the Patriots, in my opinion, are the ones that want Drake May the most. I think they are fine at that 2 spot getting Drake May. They would love Caleb Williams if the Bears decide to go elsewhere. But at the same time, I think Drake May is a New England Patriot, which is fine with me. And I've kind of leaned a little bit more towards this next option. It's not even just because of the game yesterday and him getting benched. But once again, I've been telling myself the last few weeks, if you can upgrade at the position, you do it. And what does that look like? Is Jayden Daniels an upgrade over Sam Howell? I think the upside of Jayden Daniels of being a special player is there. I think the upside of him being better than Sam Howell is there, which is why it allows you to say this pick is okay at 4, 5, wherever we pick. Maybe you can trade back a couple spots if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there or Olu Fashanu is there and a team wants to trade up with you, but you can't go that far back. Looking at the mock drafts stuff right now, the Chargers are at number 5. They would love a wide receiver. They would love even Brock Bowers. Chicago could be that 6th spot. Maybe they want to trade up for a wide receiver. So say they go Caleb Williams 1 and Marvin Harrison Jr. is still there when we're on the clock at 4 and we want to trade back 2 or 3 spots. Maybe the Jets want Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe they need a quarterback. So, but I'm not letting Jayden Daniels fall to 7, 8, 9 around the spot of the Giants, the Raiders, the Falcons. Jayden Daniels is not falling to the 2nd round. As of right now, I just don't see it. You saw his ability with his feet. I'm not even going to compare him to Lamar Jackson. I think that Jayden Daniels is even a better passer coming out of college than what Lamar Jackson was. I think Lamar Jackson is an excellent thrower right now. I think he's gotten so much better since he's been in the league, and that's why I think he's the MVP right now in the league. But I think coming out as a prospect, you're writing your evaluation, you're writing it up, strengths, weaknesses, you're looking at everything, your scouting report. I think Jayden Daniels is a better passer coming out than Lamar was. But then you see that game where Jayden Daniels uses his feet against the Gators in Florida. It's scary. That guy he's has one of the fastest speeds recorded all season long, not even just by a quarterback, but any player in college. So I would be perfectly fine if the new regime says, guys, we're going to take Jayden Daniels at 4, if the draft was tomorrow, or if they say, hey, we're going to trade back 2 or 3 spots, maybe get another 2nd round pick, whatever, depending how far back we go, obviously, and we're still going to get Jayden Daniels, but you cannot let the Giants, get in range with them. I think they would be interested in them. I don't think they roll back with DeVito. Daniel Jones has a lot of money invested in him, but you don't know what he's going to look like. I think they need a quarterback, but I'm not letting Jayden Daniels go to New York. I'm not letting the Raiders be in contention, and same with the Falcons. I'm telling you, Jayden Daniels is not going in the 2nd round. He's not going late 1st. Maybe Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix do, but Jayden Daniels, in my opinion, has solidified himself as a top 12, at worst 12 pick. There's no way the Falcons look at this guy and say, yeah, we're going to pass. The Falcons need Jayden Daniels. The same with the Raiders. The Raiders need Jayden Daniels. And I think I think this is the most likely scenario. If we do draft a quarterback, I think Jayden Daniels would be the pick. As of today, December 18th at 11:50 Central Time to 12:50 East Coast time, I think that Jayden Daniels would be the pick. Rolls Royce said Jayden Daniels is older than Sam. People forget about that. If Sam was at LSU this season, he would have been Heisman too. But honestly, when I'm evaluating my quarterback, I love age. I love experience. That's what I liked the most about Herbert. That's what I hated the most about Trey Lance. You can say the same about Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been in college longer than anybody, it feels like, but it's done good for him. It's gotten him that experience. And would you rather a kid stay in college for a long time and get that experience, or would you want a guy to come out like Trey Lance, super raw, and just have a team kind of try to mold him? Not me. I don't want that young guy, that's been, like Trey Lance, who's just kind of like, oh, there's an upside to him. Anthony Richardson might be in that same boat too. Still a little too early to tell. But in my opinion, I want that guy who's been in college for a long time. It's not like a wide receiver. It's not like a running back where you want the younger kid who doesn't have the tread off of him, that's not hit his peak yet. In my opinion, if you want a quarterback, a guy like Jayden Daniels, who's been around, he's played 5 years, 3 at Arizona State, transferred to LSU. And he's always been a good prospect. It's not like he was just like a random guy who popped off this year. People knew who Jayden Daniels was. When he transferred to LSU, it was a big deal. Like, people said the upside of this guy is enormous. Obviously, Arizona State was not good the last few years when he was there. Then he goes to LSU, gets some help with Malik Neighbors. He had Butte last year. Brian Thomas Jr. has been big for him. The defense is atrocious this year. Probably one of the it's definitely the worst defense in the SEC, but one of the worst defenses in the Power 5. LSU just absolutely crapped the bed on defense. And Jayden Daniels just produced like crazy. QBs play a long time, though, said Sun City Steve 26. A 23-year-old doesn't scare me. That's fine. Like, even if he was 24, don't care. He's, like I said, it's not a wide receiver. It's not a running back. Age, the older, the better, in my opinion. It's not like, unless you've had like a ton of injuries. Now, the one thing about Jayden Daniels that I'll say is he takes a lot of hits, just like Sam. You watch Jayden Daniels running the ball this season. He's jumping up in the air. He's fighting for extra yards. He's doing things you're like, please do not do that, Jayden. Your frame does not allow for it. And you just don't want to take those hits. And I'd be perfectly fine with Jayden Daniels next season. As of today, this is my pick. Like I said, I love Sam Howell, but can you upgrade from him? Yes. Could Jayden Daniels be better than him? Yes. Now, with that being said, everyone's going to be like, no, the offensive line's still bad. You're going to draft Jayden Daniels in the first. You're going to miss on Olu and Joe Alt. And I know that sucks. I really want Olu Fashanu more than you know. I covered him at Penn State, watched him many times at Penn State, and I love Olu Fashanu. I think he's going to be he's one of the best offensive tackle prospects in the last 5-6 years, and he's still super young. He's 20 years old. Like, he's getting better. That's when you want young offensive line, wide receiver, running back, something like that. He's still hitting his upside, which is crazy. So is Joe Alt, by the way. They're both 20. But in my opinion, I know that sucks that you missed out on him, but you can still build the offensive line. That's something that drives me nuts. No one thinks you can build the offensive line outside of the first round. Maybe you trade back up into the first round, a late first with Talise Fuaga at right tackle. You got J.C. Latham. You got Mims out of Georgia. You got Troy Futanu out of Washington. These are all starting caliber tackles in the NFL. This is one of the best tackle drafts in a long time. It is super deep. You got Patrick Paul, Jordan Morgan. The list goes on. Like, you will find plenty of starter tackles. Are they going to be Olu Fashanu and Joe Alt? No. But are they going to be really good starting tackles for for the next few years in the league? I think so. So maybe you trade back up into the first round. If you take Jayden Daniels at 4, you can easily trade back into the late first. If a guy is there, you missed out on Steve Avila last year because you didn't trade up to get him. They said, oh, we kind of want to, but we're going to see if he falls. He goes somewhere else. And you missed out on Steve Avila. That would have been your left guard of the future for the next 5, however many years. Let's see. Sun City Steve 26. JT, you're the GOAT, man. Appreciate it. Non-biased, a fan of the team. What just wants best, man? Appreciate your work. I was the conductor of the Sam train, but the last 3 or 4 weeks have been bad. Daniels is nice. I've seen some timing issues with him, but that can be coached. Yeah. The thing that I impressed the heck out of me with Jayden Daniels this season was the deep ball. He was the best deep ball quarterback in the entire college football, like in the entire nation this season. He had the best deep ball accuracy, the most deep ball plays to Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., I would love, by the way, if you can find a way to get both of those guys, please give me a Brian Thomas Jr. He's a different big wide receiver, by the way. But I think, moving forward, I love Sam Howell. I'm with you. I was pushing the train. I still love Sam, but if you could upgrade the position, guys, repeat after me, you do it. You have to do it. You can't sit here and say, well, guys, maybe we can do something different. Let's just build up the line and hope that Sam Howell just stays that good Sam Howell. That is not what a new regime is going to do. That is not what smart business people do. They say, we want our guy. And if it's not Jayden Daniels, they're going to find their guy. Do I love Sam Howell? Absolutely, I love Sam Howell. Max Julian, love your take, bro. I like that you talk about how good you can get good alignment outside the first. Absolutely. That is what drives me nuts. And I mentioned it today. This morning, I said on Twitter, if you don't follow me already, at Josh Taylor FB, you probably know me because of what happened yesterday. Not going to get into that. Me and Cam Girl got into a little fight, but we talked about it. But anyways, you can get good offensive linemen outside of the first round. You can build the offensive line in free agency. You can build the offensive line outside of round one. Look at the Texans. Yes, they have Laramie Tunsil. They traded a lot to get him. They threw him the bag. They have that left tackle spot solidified with a really good left tackle. One of the best in the league. Got it. Perfect. But outside of that, they've had a lot of injuries this year. Kenyon Green's been hurt. Tyus Howard's been hurt. That was the two guys that they've drafted in the first round the last 4 years. They got Kenyon Green last year in the first, well, not this past year, but the year before that, 2022, I want to say. Then they got Tyus in 2019 in the first round. They haven't played much at all this season. So they got Juice Scruggs in the second. They were aggressive in free agency. They got Fant, I think he was with the Jets. They got Geiter from Miami at center. So they were aggressive. And they didn't just stop there. When Jones became available with the Cardinals, they went and traded him as a depth guy because they wanted to have that offensive line built up around CJ Stroud. And like I said, they've had a lot of injuries on the line. That's something that does not get talked about enough. It's just how good of a job D'Amico Ryans is doing building up the line, but also that team plays to its best. Even with guys getting hurt, even with starters out with Kenyon Green and Tyus, they are still performing well to where CJ Stroud's one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year. Could I see Jayden Daniels being a CJ Stroud type quarterback his first year in the league? Absolutely. I think he's that good. I still have to go back and watch more tapes, do my final evaluation on Jayden Daniels and stuff. Still have some time to do that. But as of right now, what I've seen out of Jayden Daniels out of the last 3-4 years that I've watched him, I saw this guy progress out of Arizona State. I saw him transfer to LSU, learn a new offense, had a really good success. And then this year just absolutely exploded onto the scene, won the Heisman. And I'm not even saying draft this guy because he won the Heisman, because honestly, that could be a negative take. What Heisman actually looks good? RG3, you got Johnny Manziel, Bryce Young struggling right now. I still love Bryce, Roll Tide. But still, I think Jayden Daniels can hit the scene and just transition quickly into a CJ Stroud type quarterback. And Sun City Steve 26 said Paul, Morgan, Mims, possibly Guyton, all possible round 2. Yeah, I think that there's a run of linemen at the end of the first, but this is a really good edge rushing class. High priority positions. Edge, really good draft. Wide receiver, one of the best ever at wide receiver classes. Offensive tackles, really good. Interior, not that good, honestly. And corner, this is a good corner class too. So maybe some guys will fall to that second round. Guys like Guyton, who's going to be at the Senior Bowl, he's at the top of my list of guys to pay attention to that whole week. Watch at practice, talk to him, ask him some questions. Check in like I did with Steve Avila last year. How many times has Washington talked to you? What have they told you? What are things you're hearing? Steve Avila told me, look, Washington Commanders have had some really good conversations with me. This is what's going on. And then afterwards, Washington said that they were trying to trade up to get him. They didn't. and they missed out on a guy that could have been their left guard of the future. So yes, you can build outside of the first round. I think Jayden Daniels is a big time possibility. And let me talk about this last one real quick before I wrap up. Justin Fields. What does this even look like? Why is Justin Fields on the screen right now? If the Bears do decide to go Caleb Williams, and I think they will, Justin Fields has given them at least an argument the last few weeks to say, hey guys, I'm actually good. Like, just give me some more weapons. You know, Tunyon dropping one of the best passes Justin Fields has ever thrown in his career. Then you have Mooney drop a Hail Mary to win the game that's really in his lap as he's sitting on the ground. DJ Moore said after the game, he's like, Caleb Williams, Drake May, they're not as good as Justin Fields. So you have players like that. You have young, and I'll say DJ Moore's one of the, better young players of the league. Super underrated, by the way. DJ Moore said, Justin Fields is better. You have guys inside the locker room that want them to keep Justin Fields. So maybe they don't go Caleb Williams. Maybe they don't go Drake May. But the players don't really decide what goes on. So maybe they decide to get rid of Justin Fields. I think he would fetch enough to where they would trade him. They wouldn't just bench him and keep him as the backup quarterback. I think you can get a second, maybe an early third for Justin Fields. And like I said, Washington has 2 seconds. They have 2 thirds this year. Could Washington trade a second or third for Justin Fields? It's a possibility. Once again, guys, I'm not talking about all these because I'm saying Washington should do this. Washington should just bench Sam Howell. They need to go trade for Justin Fields in the offseason. Make it work. Go get him. These are just possibilities. These are all things to think about and take into consideration. That's all it is. Like I said, my opinion, I think they do want to upgrade, and I think Jayden Daniels would be the guy for whoever the new regime is. But I don't make that decision. That's just my opinion on that. But I think that Justin Fields could, you could trade a second or third for him. Then you still have that top 5 picks where you get Olu Fashanu. Then you could still have another second, and you could get a wide receiver, or you can get a linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper. You can get a corner, whatever you want to do. Edge rusher, doesn't matter. Then you still have 2 thirds after that. So you have the ammo this year to be aggressive and to just really say, guys, we did what we wanted to do. We got our quarterback, and we're still going to build. We have the, third most cap space in the entire NFL right now. We're not a cap salary graveyard like the Chargers are, who are like negative salary cap right now, who are going to be looking for a new head coach and, make changes. They have their quarterback, but they are just salary cap, just purgatory right now. It's bad. We're not. We are honestly the best situation in the NFL for a new coach, a new GM that wants to just build a team that they want to. And I think if you get Justin Fields, like I said, trade a second, third for him, whatever it takes to get him, if that's who you want, you can do it and still build the team around him. Let's see. Max Julian said, totally agree. Everybody on your line won't be an all-pro. And they don't have to be. Like teams like, the 49ers who got our guy, Trent. But like outside of him, they don't have some like mind-blowing offensive line. The Cowboys, they invest a lot in their line. I get it. There's teams that will do it, but you don't have to, guys. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be all first-round picks on offensive line, like we tried to do with our defensive line. It didn't work out. It doesn't have to be all first rounders. I still think left guard and center are a big need. One of the worst in the NFL. Worst left guard situation, worst center situation. Andrew Wiley's a liability. Maybe move him to left guard. Then you have Charles Leno, who's owed like $16 million next year, and he's getting older. So you have a lot of holes to fill. You can't just say, guys, we have to get offensive line in the first 4 picks. You can still spread it out and just – it starts with better coaching, by the way. It doesn't matter who you get if they're not getting coached correctly. Let's see. Daniels out of those OTs and Brian Thomas Jr. picks 1 through 3. I'm telling you guys, I love Brian Thomas Jr. I would love for him to be here. He's like he would be like a Mike Evans type, big wide receiver that can get deep, get separation. We need another wide receiver, especially if we lose Curtis Samuel in free agency. Something to think about as well. Fields is my guy coming out of Ohio State. I've been falling for those Ohio State quarterbacks the last few years. Nobody believed me when I said Stroud would be the best in the class. And he has NFL talent. Everyone scouted the helmet, not the player. And that's another thing. I hate people that scout helmets. I'm not going to lie. I thought CJ Stroud was going to need a year or two before he looked like he does now, but absolutely proved me wrong. CJ Stroud is hitting the ground running. And that's what I'm saying, guys. CJ Stroud's better than Sam Howell. Can you get better than Sam Howell? Yes. But has Sam Howell also shown you some good to say maybe if you do get better coaching, you do get a better line to where he can play better than how he has last few weeks? Yes, I think both can be true. Rolls Royce said, yeah, I would prefer Caleb, but I think he's going to 1 for sure. So May is a more realistic possibility. Yeah, it just depends where Washington ends up picking. Once April comes around, once we're on the clock, where are we at? But I think Washington could have that 3-4 spot locked in. And I don't see the Patriots winning any more games. Bailey Zappi looks terrible as well. That team's checked out. I think we're a lock at 3 or 4. So that's why I'm saying I think Jayden Daniels would be the pick. Could you trade back a couple spots? Yes, but then you're also risking a team like the Raiders, Falcons trading up to get him. And they would take him in a heartbeat. If they don't, then they're probably going to wait on like a Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix in the second round or whatever. So get that guy. I'm not high on Bo Nix. I know I said I love a quarterback with a lot of experience with age, but I don't know. Maybe it's the Alabama and me seeing Bo Nix in an Auburn uniform so long, but I would not want to get Bo Nix. And same with Michael Penix Jr. I love Michael Penix Jr. I think it's great. The ACL injuries, those knee injuries really worry me a lot. And he's a lefty, which I think is cool. JT, if we have the number 3 pick, would you take Marvin Harrison Jr. or Olu? If we're keeping Howell as QB1, you got to take Olu. If you are rolling with Sam Howell's quarterback 1, you have to get Olu. I think you could throw a bag. I don't think T. Higgins would ever come here. I think T. Higgins is going to be a wide receiver 1 and like Arizona or Carolina or something like that next year. Maybe I would love Mike Evans. I'm telling y'all, I don't care how old he is. Mike Evans put up 1,000 yards every single season in his career. Mike Evans is a beast. I think that would be the move I would want to go. If you want to add another wide receiver, you have a ton of money to do so. Give him like a 2-3 year deal. You would still have plenty of salary cap to throw at the defense. But that's what I would do. So appreciate y'all coming by. Is Sam Howell like the lock next year for quarterback 1? No. Could he be? Absolutely. I think you've seen a lot of Sam Howell this season that showed you some good, but also you've seen enough bad to say we can upgrade at that position, which is always the question you're going to ask yourself. Can you upgrade? And the answer is yes. But could you also build around Sam Howell moving forward? You can make that case as well. I don't think there's a wrong answer until we actually just make the move and see how it turns out. But I hope you all had a good time. Appreciate y'all stopping by. We got a lot of big things coming up on the Bleacher Report app. They're doing a lot of upgrades and changes moving forward, starting probably in the next few weeks. Where you're going to see the chats pop up on the screen, just more interactive stuff for y'all. It's going to be a good time, so stay tuned. Got some more stuff cooking up. Post-game streams, I'm going to be here pretty much for every single one of them, except for the one Christmas Eve. I'll be in Virginia for that. But I appreciate y'all for stopping by, and I'll see y'all next time here on Bleacher Report. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to participate in all of your fantasy contests, whether it's the NFL, MLB, PGA Golf, NBA, even college football. This user-friendly app, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. And my favorite part is that when you sign up in your first deposit and you use my promo code JTFB, they will double your first deposit up to $100. Now, how does it work? You pick lower or higher on stat projections that Underdog Fantasy gives you, whether it's passing yards, rebounds, points, you name it. And for each selection, say you want to select 3 people or 4 people, your odds go up based off of how many you select. My favorite feature, however, is sometimes I want to make 4 selections and I'm not feeling too confident in all of them. I love taking advantage of the Pick'em insurance to where if I miss one pick in my contest, I still get paid out on lower odds. So sign up today, download the app, and use my promo code JTFB to get up to $100 in your first deposit.